Okay, welcome back. In this module, we are going to be talking about testimonies. We're going to talk about success stories. And I'm going through this before I get into a lot of the psychology of presenting, before I go into some of the hypnotic triggers, because I just want to get some of these basic things out of the way. I've got some incredibly powerful stuff I'm going to talk to you about in the next module. Very, very excited about that. But let's talk about success stories or testimonies. And before I talk about testimonies, I want to say this. We never call them testimonies. Okay, if you are doing an in-home presentation, if you're doing a hotel meeting, if you're meeting at a restaurant, doing any type of presentations, what a lot of presenters, they make the mistake of, we want to bring up some testimonies. Now, testimonies, when people hear testimonies, they immediately think infomercial. They think, long form sales copy on a website, and a testimony, in their mind, they know a testimony is only to sell you, right? So personally, I never use the word testimony. I only use success stories. A success story could be a success story in the business. It could be a success story from a product user standpoint. And so again, we call it success stories, not testimonies. It's small difference, but very, very important. Now, here's the other thing I talked about this in the last module, but another mistake that a lot of presenters do, they go through a lot of information, and then when it's time to bring up the success stories, they say, and as they say, facts tell, but stories sell. I'm going to bring up some people to tell you their story. Well, when you say facts tell and stories sell, what you're telling the audience is, I am really trying to sell you, and we're all trying to sell you. Now, people don't like to be sold. People love to buy. They love to make good decisions, but they don't like to be sold. And so that is just one little thing that turns off your prospect. And again, it's a little thing, but it's all the little things that add up to a big, big thing. So a lot of little things that you do right end up leading to a lot of success. A lot of little things that you do wrong end up leading to a lot of failure. And so I'm giving you as many as possible. So in success stories, now here is one of the biggest keys. This is an opportunity for them to share their success story. This is not an opportunity for them to sell the deal. Now, I am so vigilant about this. I am so firm about this. If someone gets up to give their success story and they sell, if they give any command, you should do this, here's what you need to realize, anything like that, they are becoming a salesperson. The only person who is selling is the presenter. They have the right to sell, no one else. Because what happens is when you bring up the success stories and they're all saying, what you got to realize is the timing of this. You got to realize the product that does this, and they start selling. Everyone wants to be junior presenter. It is bad for the prospect. The prospect feels slimy. They feel like, oh my God, everyone is just selling and selling and selling. It feels sleazy. And so here's my attitude. If someone sells in their testimony, I'm going to immediately pull them aside. See, one thing you got to start doing as a leader is you got to address issues at point easy. You got to have crucial conversations with people, and you got to tell them, hey, listen, here's what you did good, but here's what you have to correct next time. You cannot ever, ever, ever sell when you're giving your success story. And then I tell them why. I said there's only one salesperson. See, when I got up there, I built rapport with the crowd, and that really gave me the right to then sell them. But you're getting up and you're giving your story. If everyone is selling, it turns off the prospects in the room, and we're going to have a lower enrollment rate. So when you sell like you did, it actually causes people not to enroll. So can I get your commitment that you won't sell anymore? Yes? Okay, great. All right. And then I'll give them a little correction. Here's the way to do it. If you feel like you need to make a really strong point that's important for you, you can always bring it into your personal story. So here's why I joined. I joined because of the timing. I joined because of the product. Whatever this thing is that they want to sell, they can say, here's why I did this. and then they can say it that way. See, there's a way to get it across without having it be salesy. Now, in the success story, here's what I recommend: 30 seconds, a 30-second success story. Anything, it doesn't need to be longer. 45 seconds max. Doesn't even need to be 45 seconds. The most powerful success stories are 30 seconds, and you cover 4 things. 4 simple things. You say your name, your background, why you joined, and the tangible results that you've experienced. Okay? Name, background, why you joined, and the tangible results that you experienced. Now, one of the things that you've got to be thinking about as you write out your testimony, now you should have your 30-second testimony. You should be able to just give it at any point. And you need to make sure there's no who cares. So it's like a lot of people get up and they say, hi, my name's John. I'm a carpenter. And, my friend called me and he invited me to go meet him at Panera Bread. Now, that is a who cares. The people in the room don't care where they got presented the business. That doesn't matter. So if it's not necessary to say it, it's necessary not to be said. So you got to eliminate any who cares in your testimony, in your success story. Okay? So your name, your background. Now, why do we give your background? It's important to give your background because it creates relatability. So what we're looking for is success stories from several different backgrounds. So I may want a school teacher or a coach. I may want a corporate executive or an attorney. I may want someone, a nurse. I may want a college student. I want to appeal to a wide range of people in the room. And so maybe there's someone who is a special ed teacher that's in the room, and, someone is a kindergarten teacher that comes up and gives their success story. That's going to be relatable. Someone is a doctor and they see a chiropractor that's successful. That's someone they can relate to. If someone's in corporate America and there's someone who's in corporate America, then they relate to them. And so it's important to give the background. Another reason why it's important to give the background is for them to see that people from all walks of life are successful with this. One of the things that people think in many cases is that there must be some demographic, like who's the type of person who does really well with this. Now, my friend Lisa told me something that I use all the time. After the success stories are done and I come back to finish the presentation, I say, and I know what you may be thinking is, who's the type of person who really does well with this? And as you can see from the people that you heard from, obviously, it's really young people like Stephen. Unless you're a little bit older like John. It's obviously married people unless you're single like Sally. It's obviously people with kids unless you don't have any kids. People with college degrees unless you don't have a college degree. People who live in a big city unless you live in a rural area. And, I'm just illustrating the point that anyone can be successful with this. People from all walks of life. Now, the next thing is why you joined. So name, background, why you joined. Why do you say why you joined? It gives the audience, it gives the people in the audience, it helps them discover reasons for them to join. So it might give them some things that maybe they hadn't thought about. So here's an example. Someone gets up and they say, hey, my name's John. I'm a chiropractor. And, when I saw this, here's what I realized is if I kept doing what I'm doing right now, I would never have money to retire. And I saw this as the ultimate retirement vehicle for me, because if I didn't, I'd still be working at 70, 75 yeyears old. And here's what I experienced. So tangible results. One of the biggest mistakes, this is super common, is people get up and they say, they get their name, the background, why they joined. They do great there. And they said, since I've joined, I've come to several trainings. I've met lots of great people. This has changed my life. And the prospect is sitting there going, who cares? You didn't say anything. Changed my life doesn't mean anything. So you want something specific. If it's a product example, I took this product, it caused me to lose weight. I signed up for the electricity. My bill got, I saved $100 a month on my electricity bill. I, started using this travel product and I went on this incredible vacation. I saved this amount of money and here's how the trip was. You give a tangible result that you've experienced with the product, or you can give a tangible result that you've experienced through the business. And so things like, I've only been in the business for a week. I've already enrolled 6 people. I just showed them the video. In fact, out of those 6 people, 3 people have already enrolled several others. And so it is working. Thanks for letting me share. Okay, so you're just giving an example. That's not a breakthrough, crazy, success story, but it's an example, a specific example that it actually works. Now, another thing that I encourage people to do is, because a lot of times people have a hard time really understanding duplication. Building a team of 100 or 1,000 people, it's like, wow, I've got to show 1,000 people, or I've got to enroll 1,000 people. It may not add up. And so I want them to get the multiplication piece. And so a great example of that would be someone who gets up and says, hi, I've been in the business for 6 months. I've personally referred 15 people. Those 15 have turned into 237. I'm now driving a car that the company pays for. The residual income is getting to the point where it's going to pay all my bills by the end of the year. This has been awesome. Thanks for letting me share. Okay. That's an example, okay? Enrolled 15, turned into 237. Then the people in the room, they're going, oh, wow, this duplicates. I get it, okay? So another thing that a lot of people say is they'll say, their name, their background, why they joined, and, this has really changed my life. I'm going to be able to retire 5 years early because of this. Well, when you say I'm going to be able to retire 5 years early, that's you giving a prediction. The people in the audience are smart. They're going to know that you're just making a prediction. You're just making that up. There's nothing tangible about that. Okay? And so that is the key to a great success story. Again, don't try to make it any longer than 30 seconds. Even if you've got a really incredible story, you tell it really fast. And here's the thing, is what I like to do is I want to have a lot, the more testimonies, the better. But if I've got, let's say, 12 success stories that I'm going to bring up, and everyone talks for 2 minutes, it takes up 24 minutes of time, okay? That's way, way too long. You start boring people. And what happens is if you're doing a success story for 2 minutes, you're saying a lot of so whats, things that are not necessary to say. But if I can bring up 12 people and they each do 30 seconds, that's 6 minutes. They've heard from 12 different people who are having success. It only took 6 minutes. They're just being bombarded with proof of success. So it's social proof. They're seeing that it works. And so you can have more people sharing their story if everyone's cutting it into 30 seconds. Now, again, this is something as a leader you need to be firm with. You need to be strict with this. So if people go over the 30 seconds, if they talk for a minute or a minute and a half, you got to pull them aside and you got to tell them, listen, you went way over. And what happens is we have to have a lot less people share when you do that. So I need you to commit to only doing 30 seconds. Can I count on you for that? Okay. And just like the selling, you have to pull people aside. You got to have the critical conversations. You've got to step up and be a leader. And being a leader means that you correct people. You be firm but fair. You have a velvet glove, but nonetheless, it is a glove, right? And if they screw it up a second time, you never have them give another testimony. I never have them give another success story. Now, I'm saying testimony in front of the crowd. Just make sure you're not saying testimony, you're saying success story. All right? Now, use that, apply it, and you will see results.